All right, and you're recording. Oh my gosh. All right, so
Yes.
hello everyone. My name is Gina. I'm from the Gina International Travel Organization, and we are working to eradicate poverty through education. And today, I actually happen to have an educator on the show. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. So go ahead.
Hi, guys. My name is Dr. Gina Purdue, but I go by Dr. J or Gina. And it's great. It's great to meet you guys. I am currently living in Shenzhen, China, which is across the street from Hong Kong. And I'm from Denver, Colorado. And I've been an educator for 12 years now, which is madness. But yeah, so that's a brief introduction. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Okay, so can we call you Dr. Janaea?
Yeah, sure. Dr. Janaea or Dr. J. The
Dr.
Chinese
J.
people, they like is they just can't with my name. It's just too hard.
I love Dr. J. Let's do Dr. J. Okay, if you're okay with
That's
that.
good.
All right.
Yes, of
So
course.
first, thank you for coming on the show, Dr. J. It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Mm-hmm.
And all right, so I really want to talk about your book because I just think it's fascinating. It's amazing that you have a book. So tell us about it.
So, surprise, I'm Black. And I grew, or before I came to China, I lived in Denver, Colorado, which is very, very, very white. And it was like a coming of age for me when I was in my late 20s. And so I decided to write like a reflection piece because of some of the work that I do on my Facebook page with folks. And then also, it was almost like therapy too. So the title, I have 3 titles for the book because I couldn't pick just one. So you have to listen to all of them. Y'all ready? Okay. The first one is hashtag Black in Denver, a Black girl's reflection to being a bougie hipster and Black in her favorite town. Essays on race, racial and cultural dissonance, whiteness, and being Black v. Black. Alternative title A is Black in Denver, rants, thoughts, musings, annoyances, observations, and proclivities of a Black girl in Denver, a very white town. And then alternative title B is These White People, eye roll emoji. So all of that together. So I started writing and processing Denver when I was about 3 of the 4 years in, and I just couldn't put my finger on what was happening to me and to my feelings and to like in all of the white spaces that I was in. And I kept thinking that like all of these situations were separate of each other. But then when I started to group them and make themes, I recognized that it was really just me being a Black woman in spaces of whiteness and just it was very toxic. And I didn't know how toxic it was until I was ready to leave for China. So background is like I grew up as a military kid, and my parents were absolutely fantastic with providing me lots and lots of things, lots and lots of cultural experiences and blah, blah, blah. And I'm grateful for that. And when I was in Kentucky for 16 years, we grew up in, my brother and I, my brother passed away recently, but so my brother and I, we grew up in a white evangelical church. So I was a Black teenager in white evangelical church in the 21st century. And so then I moved. So it's obvious the level of racism that I grew up in Kentucky. And in Denver, it's much more nuanced and fancy because you're just around a whole bunch of really woke Patagonia, North Face, fancy type people. Bernie, they'll tell you first and foremost, I voted for Bernie, and I'm like, great, but also let's discuss your whiteness because it's still here. And I started to become very vocal on Facebook, and I received a lot of pushback from white folks who were like, you're being too racist, you're doing the most, why do you have to look at race like this is disrespectful, you were different before but now I don't understand who you are now, those sorts of things. And then I also had curious white folks who were like, what you say is really interesting and it's different, can you share some more? And be like, sure, I would absolutely love to. And so my book is basically, there are no statistics in my book whatsoever. There's no data of so and so said, because I already wrote a dissertation. I'm not doing that in my book. This is literally like what it's like day to day as a Black woman around white folks who may or may not know that they are creating an unsafe space emotionally, psychologically for people that don't look like them. And it's done in a very objective kind of way of like, when I walk into a party, these are some things that I notice. I noticed that everyone went to hush hush town and people started staring at their feet, and they put the little plate next to the side of them because they weren't really sure if I was safe enough as a Black person in order to say, oh, you can be a part of the conversation. So they would say things like, I'm waiting for my friend, but then the friend doesn't exist, stuff like this.
Wait,
And this is in.
sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt. Let's go back a little bit. You said they would put what to the side?
Like their paper plate, like that of their food, they would just casually put it in the chair next to them that was empty. So then I knew that it was not welcome to sit next to them. Those sorts of things.
What?
Hmm. In 2018. And I thought maybe perhaps I'm just making this up. But when this happens to you 5 times, 12 times, perhaps it's kind of a thing. But then also, when you do meet a Black person and you have that understanding of like an unspoken solidarity and just how powerful that is and how life-giving that is, um, it fuels you through the time when you're going to meet the next one. So like you hang out with a person and then they're life-giving to you and you have the fuel to push you through the desert of whiteness until you get to your next one. So things like that. And when I talk about white people in my book, I want to be very clear that there's two different types of white people. There's white people and there's white people. One of them is just, you're white. I have no qualms whatsoever. Y'all are living your best life, and that's fantastic and great. But the second one is the type of person that needs to change, and that person is um, a person who intentionally or unintentionally upholds the standard of that lets them have more than me, than us Black folks. And they choose to not fight and not advocate for and
Mm.
not research or even try to hear and acknowledge a different narrative than what they know and are most familiar with. And that is the type of white person that I'm not okay with. And they need to get it together. Yeah. So my book is just all the little situations that I was in Denver. Yeah. And I
Just
wrote about it. Yeah. Hmm.
okay.
So
That
it's great fun. It's great fun.
I think it takes a lot of courage to write something like that. And
Yeah.
I just want to congratulate you on getting to that point where you put it on paper and then you put it out to the world like, hey, you know, this is what I got to
I
say.
did. Hmm.
And
And
then,
like,
mhm.
yeah. And I feel like, like if 10 people read it, then that's fine. Like I did this for me of just like, I finally put all of the pieces together. And then it has like my Facebook statuses and you can see like the chronology of my life and what it was like. Cause I wrote on Facebook with the intention of publishing it one day. And
Mhm.
so It's just all my thoughts from 2014 to 2018 with the lens of Blackness versus whiteness. Mm-hmm.
Even if we take it to like an elementary sort of level, it's kind of like if someone says, hey, you hurt me, or, you know, they're upset about something, for me, it's natural to say, like, okay, how did I hurt you? And then I work to fix that, you know, to make things better. But it just really puzzles me, and it's painful to see that some people, they're just not willing to do that, you know?
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, and you know, they rather just point a finger at you and say like, "Oh, be quiet, you're causing trouble," rather than saying, "Wait a minute, there might be a problem here. Let's work to fix it."
Imagine. Let's work together. Yeah.
And so,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I
Absolutely.
do with
So,
friends. So that's my bubble, I guess I live in. I just assume that other people would naturally do that if you're a good person. But
we can't assume things in 2020, almost 2021. We just can't assume anymore.
well, it's actually
Um,
2021 where you are right now, right?
is it yet? Wait, let me check the time. Just a minute. Nope, we got 16 minutes. Mm-hmm.
16 minutes. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Okay.
16, I know. Can you
You're going
believe
to be in a
it? Oh,
completely different
yes.
year from me. Like,
It's
that's
insane.
crazy. So
Yeah.
anyway, back to the book. So I'm curious, where can we get this book also?
Yeah. So since I'm in China, it is an ebook right now. And it's on my website, melanatedStamps.com. So it's MELANATEDSTAMPS. And you can get so there's like a contact listing, and then you say, hey, I want your book, send me some PayPal money. And then I'll just email you the file. And I'm asking folks to have some integrity. Don't just share it and all of that, support what I've done, share, but don't copy my book and then just send it. And then, because all funds are going towards my next initiative, which will start in 2.5 years once I'm done with China. And I'm going to be creating curriculum for specifically Black and Brown folks who are in public schools, and also families, so that they can see what the world looks like. And they're going to do that through my eyes. And so every penny is going to that. And so, yes, so support what I'm doing with that, and then we can all change the world. Mm-hmm.
And how much should we pay for your book?
15 US dollars. That's what I'm asking
15.
for. Mm-hmm.
These days,
Yeah.
that's not really much. So
It's really not like, it's just it's a hard read, but I feel like it is a necessary piece in the conversation that we're having right now when it comes to racial equity and seeking to make sure that all voices are at the table when we're just in the discourse of justice. Yeah. So come support me. Come follow my work. Yes, absolutely. It's so fun.
definitely, I will definitely get on that. So make sure you share that information with me so I can share it with
Yes,
other
of course.
people as well.
Definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know why I didn't ask before. That's what this is for.
Of
Okay,
course. Of
so
course.
now I'm really interested in how you got from Denver to China. And let me say, I really think Denver probably prepared you for what you were going to go through in China. Am I right or wrong?
Uh, China is a special place, y'all. It is a special,
Okay.
special. Oh God. Like just today I was walking past, they were barbecuing pigeons, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go and I just is special, but I don't hate it anymore. So this is what had happened. I am perpetually single, and I was like, somehow in my psyche was like waiting for Prince Charming to like I don't know, come in my house and marry me or something. And then I was like, you know what? No man, no kids. Like I can kind of do what I want. That was the first part. Second part is I was teaching really, really, really hard to love kids in Denver. A lot of folks think that Denver is just this town of white folks and money, but as I shared before, the racism is hidden, but once you see it, it's so awful. And one of the worst places that you see it in is in the public school system. So the school to prison pipeline statistics are dastardly for Denver. The high school dropout rate for Black men is like well over 50%. Like it's insane. And so I was teaching hard to love kids. It was my third year of doing it, and I'm it's not my skill set. Like I don't do well in that environment, but I was doing the best I can, and I didn't have I just it was just too much, and I couldn't do it. So it was probably like February. No, the school I was teaching in, I was an assistant in because I was waiting on a visa to go to another country. My visa never showed up, and um, so in January, um, the teacher quit in the school in the classroom that I was teaching in, and I walked up to the principal. I was like, "Look, I can get y'all to May, but I can't promise you nothing else. I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the year." And I was like, but I'll do my damnedest. And I tried. And even then, it just wasn't enough. And in January, when we went back to school that year, I was their kid's fourth teacher. They had run off three others in 3.5 months. And I was like, it was madness. It was me and my co-teacher, and she was incredible. And we did the best we could. And so there was this little kid, her name was Kay, and Kay cussed me out up and down every other day, and over just crazy stuff. And there was just one day in March, and I was done. And I took Kay's Doritos because she had like taken the Cheeto powder and she wrote "bitch" on the in the Cheeto powder on her friend's desk, and then I took her bag of chips during math class, and then she cussed me up and down, my ancestors, my lineage, my hair. You don't have no hairline. This is why, blah. And I looked at her, knowing good and well she did the same thing to me yesterday, but that was the day. And I said, I don't have to do this. And I let her finish her rant. I went home and I Googled how to make money, how to leave America and still make money. That's in my Google search. All these jobs showed up for China. And I was like, you know what? Why not? And so I finished out the year. I had been saving for 2 years, and I did a 14 country trip to Europe. And then I came back, finished my visa, and I was out, and I moved to China. Yeah. And now we're here.
Question. Why did you choose Europe?
I chose Europe because I haven't thought about that in a while. So my first few trips abroad were study abroads. I did several because I have a doctorate, so I was in school for 100 years. So and then I did Central America because I speak Spanish. And I was like, okay, I wanted to cross borders in a second language. And so I did it in Spanish. And then I was like, well, if I can survive in Spanish, then I could go somewhere and do the same thing. And so I decided to do Europe. And every time a kid made me mad in school, then I added an extra country. And it ended up being about 14 countries. Yeah. And I also wanted to go back to Spain to drink more orange juice. So that was a big plan. And
that's very specific.
Very specific, but have you had their orange juice?
I have not, and I've been twice.
So. You need to have the orange. You need to go back.
What's with the orange juice? Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Valencia orange.
Yeah, go ahead.
I drank $50 US worth of orange juice in 4 days. was glorious. Yeah, but also like I wanted to go see London and just go prance around and do stuff in Europe, and it was great. Best decision of my life.
Question about that before we go back to China. Um,
Mm-hmm.
how do I phrase this correctly? How was your experience in Europe compared to the US? I know you can't really compare because you didn't like live there, but I'm
I
just
had enough to get. Mm-hmm. Every time I leave America, I get a break from whiteness of the American level. And that's something that, like, when I talk to Black folks, and this is actually in my dissertation research also, because my dissertation was on trying to figure out why Black, or how to get more Black students to study abroad. And one of the things from my research, it said that we already know that it's hell to be Black in America, so we're not going to try and to go somewhere that we don't know.
mm,
And that's one of the major reasons why we don't travel abroad. Um, but for me, when I traveled to Europe, I specifically looked for the Black things. So I went up to every Black person. I was like, hey, so I am here in Portugal and I have a couple questions for you because you're Black. So I want to know what it's like to be Black in Portugal. And I would talk with them. Um, and I had the best conversations on racism and whiteness in London and Paris. And it is not the same, but it's a different type of toxicity, but it's not to the same level of USA. And it was shocking to me because, like, the folks, where was I? I was in both of them, US, or not US, but UK or London and also Paris. And the Black people would come up to me and they would say, oh, you're American? And they would say, I have a question. And I'd be like, what's your question? And they would say, why are you all still in America? And I was like, I'm not, this is a good question. I don't know. And they were like, we read the news. Do y'all read the news? And I was like, I am, I, you know, I'm not sure, but I'm trying to get my people out to at least realize that there's more to it than the shit we put up with in the States. Um, but like, I've heard a lot of like crazy things that happen to Black folks, but I'm a hipster. I don't club because clubs are loud. I'm not out doing stuff. I'm just eating and taking selfies with my little ass backpack, living my best life in the hostels. Like my profile, I do that purposefully for safety and also because it's my style of traveling. Um, I I don't get into shenanigans, and people are fine. So I've loved it. I'll go back for sure. I'm not going back to Paris. I'll go back to the rest of the places. Mhm.
wait, what's wrong with Paris?
It got on my nerves. I walked over there. I was like, I don't have money for this. Y'all rich. I'm poor. And I went to like Champs Elysees and I was like, there's no hipster shit over here. Why am I over here? And
Oh,
then
Champs
like,
Elysees?
went to, hmm?
Champs Elysees?
That, yeah, I don't know how to say it because y'all made me mad. I don't understand the accents. Like, I was so anti Paris. As soon as I got off the plane, I was like, I don't like it here. Like, it's just,
No.
it's not my style. It's not. Like my hostel was 40 US dollars for a bunk bed for the night. Like, why are we doing this, friend? It
Okay,
was awful.
really
But
quickly, really quickly, let's go into hostels for a quick second. I can't stand them. I refuse to
I am
stand them.
team hostel all day. All day.
No, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't like sharing my room with strangers. That's one. And then two, okay, I don't know if you saw this post, but in Spain, this lady, she came back like at 3 or 4 in the morning, which was fine because I was already up buying plane tickets. She went to
Mm-hmm.
sleep and she got up 30 minutes later, went to the bathroom. When she came out, the entire room, it was a big room, the entire room smelled like butt. Like, and then she was naked.
Yeah.
She was naked, and then she just went to sleep on the top bunk, and it just continued to smell like butt so much that I couldn't sleep. I was up the entire night until like 9, 10 a.m. when I had to leave.
Oh,
And then she was like, oh,
yeah.
hi, how are you? Not good, because I smelled your butt all night, which is disgusting. You know,
Oh,
like, put some clothes on, please. You know, like,
that's gross.
God, it was
Gross, yeah.
terrible. God, I had never packed so fast in my life. But anyway, I just had to do a little rant.
Thank you for sharing. You know, like I'm a low budget traveler,
Mm.
and I live I am I don't know, like I'm the millennial hipster who's like I actually care about carbon footprints and stuff like that. And I also like communal living. I think I don't know, like I've had the best conversations with folks that are in hostels, or they just leave me alone because like I just don't want to be bothered. Um, I also just don't care. Like I just close my eyes and I'm asleep. Like it's fine. Of course now I'm old. I'm in my 30s. You know, my knees be popping and such now. So like, you know, I'm not really interested in uh like the bunks with no privacy. Um, I love like the capsule ones that are becoming popular now, where you have like the little cocoon thing. Those are like, if I
Yeah.
see a cocoon, I'll pay $90 for the cocoon. But I've stayed in hostels all over the world, and that's how I'm able to travel as much as I do, being as poor as I am. Yeah. So like my trip to Europe for 9 weeks, including all.
Uh-oh. I think we're losing you. Oh no. Dr. J, where did you go? Oh no. Uh-oh. All right, so now we're recording again. Sorry, everyone. We lost Dr. J for a second, but she's back. She's
I'm
back.
back, y'all. I'm back. Yeah.
Woo! And stronger than ever. Woo! Okay. So,
Yes. I'm team
um,
hostel, y'all. Mm-hmm. Team
now
hostel.
back to the hostels. So you were just about to tell us about how much you spent. In
Oh yes.
countries.
So I flew out from Denver, which is not a cheap airport, to Paris round trip. It was 14 countries, 9 weeks, and I spent almost 7,000 US dollars. Yeah.
9 weeks, 7,000 US dollars, including the trains you might have taken, the
All the
plane,
train.
all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
So I I gotta compare for a second because that's really interesting. So I went to 12 countries in Europe, plus one in Africa, and then one in South America. I think I did that in about 8 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
7 to 8 weeks, and that was 10,000.
It's about the same.
Yeah, that was
Because
about
you had those
10,000.
you had to do the transoceanic flights.
Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
like I stayed in mostly 4 or 5 star hotels because
Really?
I believe in cheap luxury.
Absolutely.
Right.
Mhm.
So like I can find that nice room for 40 US dollars instead of like sharing it with other people.
For sure.
Yeah, like
For
I've
sure.
trained myself for that. And so I just wanted to let everyone know, like, if hostels aren't for you, you still have cheaper
You have
options. Yeah.
for sure. Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I think like for me, I had a budget of like 5,500 US dollars, but I made some rookie traveling mistakes throughout, because I didn't this was my first like really, really big trip. Um Also, I'm an fairly expensive eater, so I'm eating everything, and so I saved money on hostels so that I could eat. Um, and what else did I spend money on? That's it. Like I didn't do some souvenirs and things because I had one bougie backpack, and that's all that I took with me. So if I couldn't carry it, I wasn't gonna buy it. Yeah. Also, Europe is expensive, and I went to the more expensive countries in Europe. And I was not thrilled. So I'm much more of a Croatia, Montenegro fan than I
Yeah.
am a Paris fan. London, I did not want to like it, but I loved London. It was the coolest. It was
Yeah.
so cool.
Expensive, but cool. Ridiculous.
Took all my money. I was there for 3 days, and that was the last country I went to. And I was like, I don't have no pennies. And then I went to London, and they were talking about 12 US dollars for French fries. It was ridiculous, but I loved it.
I don't want to talk about how much London hurt my pocket. Look, I spent a nice percentage of that 10,000 in London, and I was there for 5 days. I think I paid $500 to have a tiny little corner to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Not a private bathroom, had to share it. And I think that neighborhood was recently regentrified.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what we
Yeah.
say. So you could tell like it used to be a place that wasn't safe, but became safe or whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, I loved London because the people were so nice, and I was really shocked about that.
So cool.
Yeah.
London people were so cool. But also, like, that was like my final straw with whiteness was in London. Because
What?
like I went to Buckingham Palace, and did you go to Buckingham Palace?
I did. I wasn't impressed. Oops, sorry.
And it's dope because it's Buckingham, the Queen is there and all this. But like the gates around Buckingham Palace are named after the places that England conquered. And so is all these places like they have one that's the Oceanic, and they have one that's USA, and then they have one that's, all the places all around the world. And I was like, y'all done effed up this whole world. Like it's y'all's fault. And I got angry. So I was real salty about it. And I'm not I'm not as deep into his history as I could be because it's just not my expertise. But putting those pieces together, it makes whiteness look awful. And when I travel, I look specifically for whiteness and I avoid spending my pennies there. And that's also part of the reason why I don't do hotels and fancy things, is because if a country is selling themselves to the god of Western money, then I shan't not support. I'm not doing it.
That
So
makes sense. Okay.
yeah, but that's like my philosophy on traveling. Other folks, y'all can live your best lives, and I fully support. I mean, you live your best life. But that's what I do, because my values when I travel are at the forefront. Yeah, so it's great. Go travel the world. It's wonderful.
That's deep. I love it. But I do want to bring up one quick thing. In Italy,
Mm-hmm.
Italy was the first time I went into a hotel and I saw a Black manager in Europe. You know, like he was running the hotel, and I was like, "What?" And okay, long story short, I didn't finish filling out my visa information for Brazil. So they didn't let me on the plane. So I lost some serious money because of that. My own
Oh
fault.
god.
So I checked in like at 2 or 3 a.m. and I was like, please don't make me wait like 12 hours for a room. Can I just check in now? He was like, yeah, I got you. Come on, like we're on the same team, right?
Wow.
And I was like I was so like happy to have that encounter abroad.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I love it.
it was
Yeah,
cool.
Italy was the one where it was I saw the most anti-black racism was Italy. And I wanted to love Italy because their food had me in tears. It was so delicious. Just like every time I smelled spaghetti, I hate it. I don't know. And every time. I was at the little museum, the fancy museum, and I walked out and I was like, that smells like meatballs. We need to go find them. And I ate them. It was like you know, €5 or whatever. It's the best spaghetti. And then an hour and a half later, I smell ravioli. Let's go find it. I got so fat, but like I watched them not let Black folks onto a train, and they had tickets or didn't give. Like it was blatantly like, they said no to the Africans and they said yes to the white people. And I was like, this is some effing bullshit. Like it was awful. Um, but the part that was sad to me was like the Black folks, they didn't make a scene and they were not surprised. That was the part that got me.
Mm.
So, and I was not okay with that. And it happens. So I'm not saying don't go to Italy, but of the places that I went to, that one was least pleasant, and sad for me to watch. But that food was delicious
Quick
and
thing.
beautiful.
Yeah. Oh my God. But quick thing about racism in Italy. So I had my own encounter in Italy, down the street from that hotel that I was at.
Really?
And okay, so when I don't have my makeup on, I look like a different person. I do. And because I don't have the clearest skin. I what is it called? I have hyperpigmentation. So I just try to even out my tones with makeup. But I wasn't wearing my makeup. I was wearing like baggy pants and just a jacket that I happen to have. When I walked in there, they act like they did not speak English. They act like they didn't understand me. They were just like, "Who are you? Why are you here?" I spoke to them and they looked around me and talked to the person behind me. And I was like, excuse me, what?
We really doing this? We doing this? Okay.
But so I tried to turn it into a social experiment. So the next day, I went back with my makeup, my nice clothes, my little costume jewelry or whatever. I looked like I had money, okay? And when I walked in there, they completely changed. They were like, "Hi, how can I help you? What can we do for you?" And blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
And then I told the manager because he came up to me first. I was like, "Oh, you didn't treat me like this
Wow.
yesterday. What happened?" And he was like,
Wow.
"What? You were here? Yeah, that woman was me."
Wow.
And ever since then, I don't know, ever since I haven't been there in a couple years,
Yeah.
but after that incident, they were super nice to me.
Insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the facade in Europe was disappointing but not surprising for me. And because of like my value system when I travel, I was not thrilled. I did not feel like I don't know, like I feel like there was Paris and then the rest of Europe. But like I did not feel as though it was an authentic place to live. I also felt it a lot when I was in Rome. I loved Rome. It was beautiful. But also, I have a love-hate relationship with the evangelical church and also like what they do with money and stuff. And so like I gave Rome the side eye, but also I low-key like the Vatican. And so um, it was just like it was just I I just didn't fit. But as soon as like I crossed over whatever that body of water is that separates Italy from like Eastern Europe, as soon as I got into Croatia, I was like, oh, it's glorious. This is, I was sitting on a bus for like $10 traveling 8 hours to some random other country. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is why I travel. This is why I left America. It was to come over here and look at this little water over here. It was beautiful.
Where did you go in Eastern Europe?
I did Croatia, Montenegro, and Albania. And then I got my CELTA certification for teaching English in Bulgaria. So I was in Bulgaria for a month.
Right. I love Bulgaria.
And I ate my weight in yogurt every day. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. We're not going to talk too much about Bulgaria today. I have some somewhat good memories in that country. But like you were saying, like, I I paid 75 USD for this entire apartment. Like I had a balcony, a nice wide bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, and I was like, what? A whole
Yep.
like I was like paying like $25 a day. I couldn't get over it. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
People need to stop sleeping on Eastern Europe. Great place.
Oh my gosh. I'm traveling all the places once I'm done with China. Like I'm doing like Serbia and Kosovo and all of the ones. Yeah, because I did most of Western Europe, but I wanted to keep in my travels. I wanted to keep themes of travel, and so it didn't make sense to me to do West and East Europe at the same time. And
Did you
also logistically, it was too much. So
did you go up
yeah.
north?
What's up north? Is that like
Like
Finland north
Sweden,
or
Finland, I think that's up there, yeah. And
yeah?
Norway and
I did Finland when I was in grad school for 8 days, and I looked at their education system. And so I when it comes to like the data of to finish schools and how they're comparing their success to the U.S., I give that also the side eye because it's apples and oranges.
mm,
So I did that for 8 days. It was glorious, but also I saw no Black people because they intentionally hide them from tourists. And so,
what?
yeah, it's insane. I remember I was, because it. I went to Finland with some superintendents, so they were like the top number one folks of Kentucky because they were like, we want to see what Finland is doing with their education system, so we're doing a study
Yeah.
abroad. But I was like, you know what? I'm in Dr. Land. I got $3,000, so I'm gonna go to see what's up in Finland. It was cold AF. I went in March. Nobody told me how cold it would be, and everything was pristine in like Helsinki. And then we went to some other random town. We looked at the embassy. All kind. It was so cool. But I remember I was in uh, one thing, and this was at the beginning of my journey of understanding Blackness and whiteness. Very, very beginning. And this is also like pre-Ferguson,
Mm.
so which significantly impacted my research, my perspective, my tenacity, all of the things. And they were like, I asked them, I was like, so your kids are happy, but I see that all of them are all Finnish. Like, do you have other folks that are not? And they were like, yeah, we do. They're just not in the city. And I was like, can we go to where they are? They go, no. And I was like, can where are they? And they go, we put them in the other. We put them. Is this what we're saying? And I was like, so where are they coming from? They're like, they're the immigrants from Africa, and they're the immigrants from I forget which war there was right at the time when I went, but there was a huge group of refugees. And then I was like, so can you share with me how you all are integrating their languages into your school system? And they go, we
Come
don't
on.
talk about. Mm-mm.
Right. Like,
And so the reason why Finland can do what it does is because it's a monolithic, monocultural, monolinguistic society. They can do whatever they want, and they can have everybody teach Finnish and have the top scores because that's what they do. But like in the school system that I came from in Denver, there were 175 languages represented. There is no way that you'd
oh,
be able to do what you do in Finland in Aurora, Colorado. You can't do that. Mm-mm.
wow.
So yeah, it was insane. So it was great, but also it was very white, very, very white. But I felt safe as a Black person there, so I appreciated that for sure.
That's something we usually have to research before we get on the plane or a train, right?
For sure.
And it's exhausting.
I get tired. I
Yeah.
really do.
Because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's enough being a woman, you know, you got to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that you're safe as a woman. And then on top of that, you got to worry about being Black. And then I think these days you might have to worry about being American because
You do.
I don't know if I want to tell people I'm American.
I'm supposed to study up in Canada. Like, just don't talk to me about this. Don't talk. Like, I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry my did it to y'all's country. I'm not a part of this. I'm trying to fight for y'all. I really am. Like, it's awful. Also, like, there is a thing with being fully figured in a place.
Yeah.
Also, I noticed that was a thing. Like, I got boobs and a booty, and I got way too much attention in a lot of places because of that. Um, and at the time, I was a super virgin when I did the travels in Europe, so I didn't know when I was in danger because I didn't know anything. And I had to learn very fast to be careful in a lot of different ways. But yeah, definitely do your research before you go to these places but then also, just because there is one blog that said they had one negative experience in that whole country does not warrant you not going.
Right.
So, like, when I went to Italy, I read and they were like, it's not okay to be Black in Italy. And I was like, oh, but also Italy has spaghetti. So I'm going to go instead and just see what happens, you know? Um, so take it with a grain of salt, but just don't be dumb and do your due diligence before you travel for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, Happy New Year, by the way. I think
Yay, we did it. Do it.
Woo!
Oh, yay.
You're in a
Happy
different
New
year.
Year. This is so exciting.
That's so crazy. Oh my God. Okay, but back to the focus. Now, there's something I really want to highlight, and then I'm going to have to let you go because we're close to the hour point. But you did start a business in China, right?
I did.
Yeah. So I have to highlight this. I have to talk about this because it's like I've never, not never, but I just think it's fascinating that even despite everything that's happened, you still went out there, you pressed forward and you started a business in another country. That is the definition of Black girl magic. What?
I don't think about it like that. And then I tell people, and I'm like, you're right, that is badass, ain't it? It's true. Yeah, I forget. But yeah, I have a training center here, and we have about 30 students. I purchased it here, and the acquisition of it was a complete shit show. But I'm actually like just today, I got some renewals, and so I'm super thrilled about it. Like, it's actually going and moving forward. I'm so proud of it, and I was like, I can't. And I did this business. I'm completely illiterate over here in China. Like, I know 8 words of Chinese. And so I have a business in a place where I don't speak the language. And that's all of a thing. I'm an educator, but also, like, I was like, I can do more than just teach ESL for someone else. And I was like, I think I can do this. And I can. And it's terrifying, but I'm so proud of my little school. And I love it. So, yes.
I'm just like just watching another Black woman being great. I'm just proud of you. And
Thank you.
I'm just happy to have you on the show and say, look, I talked to Dr. J. She
Yeah.
has a company in China and a book. Oh my God. So I'm like overjoyed about it. And I share that information with other people too. I'm like, I know somebody, like, so it's amazing. And I'm so fascinated, not just because it's in China, but because like I tried something similar in South Korea. And South Korea it's just not set up for immigrants. It's just not. Like, it's for their people, and it makes sense. Okay. But like, it's like you need a spouse, you need a Korean spouse to function properly over there. And I just don't like giving someone that control,
Nobody's in control of me.
Right.
Nope.
So it was just good to hear that you're still doing it on your own in China.
Yes, it is. It's super scary, but like, I've had some wins recently, and I was like, you know what? I think I just might make it. And I think, like, overall, do like you can't be afraid of challenges, and if you feel as though like this is the direction that you need to go and it's super scary, do it anyway. Like for me, moving to China, super scary. I did it anyway. The business, all the things, just do it anyway, and figure it out as you're moving forward. There is no perfect time to start a business or a perfect time to do X, Y, and Z. Like the perfect time is right now. So try. And if you fail, great. Write a story about it and keep moving and figure it out. China has taught me to be ruthless about what I want to do. And I fight for my existence every day here in the little things and also the big ones. And um, it's a hard place to be in. It's hard to be Black here. The virus, it's hard. Um, but also like it's it's okay. Like I'm still here. I'm still making it. So yeah, I did it. But oh, stressful. Be sweating all the time.
I think
Yeah.
it takes a special type of person to do that. Well, I mean, you don't have to be like special like the star child, but just as you just said, like just do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I have people who want to sign up for language classes for Gina International, but they get scared at the last minute. They're like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to study Arabic. Oh, I don't know if I'm ready to study Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. I'm like,
It's
you'll
true.
never be ready. You just have to
You'll
do
never be ready.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I remember when I was in Denver and super poor. My brother and I both moved up there together, and we were so broke. It was just brutal. And um, I got a random phone call asking if I was interested in moving to China 2 years before I actually did move. And at that moment, they were like, okay, so basically with China, like if you are alive and not dead, and you haven't murdered nobody, like you can get a job over here. And so the bar is real low. and and so like so they were like, great, so you have your bachelor's, you have this, okay, can you move, can you give us an answer by Thursday? And I was like, it's Monday. And they were like, yes, can you want the job? And I said no at that time because I was scared. And I vowed at that moment that I would never ever not to do or do something because of fear. I can do it because of a plethora of other reasons, or not do something for a plethora of other reasons, but fear is not going to be one of them. And so when I make big ass decisions that just don't make any kind of sense to anybody, I'm like, am I not doing this because I'm scared? And if I am scared and that's the only reason, then I do it anyway and figure it out, and then call my therapist. Yeah, that's it.
Black therapist to the rescue. Seriously.
Man, that's a whole other podcast. God
Right.
bless my Black therapist.
Question though, have you ever went skydiving?
No, because I travel and I'm poor. Like skydiving's over my budget of $20. Yeah,
$20. Okay, yeah, you can't do that for
I
$20.
can't for $20.
Oh.
But this next go round, like I'm actually my next sabbatical, I'm actually gonna do things like that because I haven't yet.
Mm.
Yeah, so I have to increase my budget to like $30 for activities.
So like I forced myself to do it. I think
You did.
I forgot the height. What was it, 20,000 feet? Something like, I don't know. It was
Oh,
up there. And it's not scary at all.
right.
It's not. Like, you feel it for like 2 seconds. And then after a while, it's like you're laying on a bed of air. And I
Mm-hmm.
believe Will Smith, he gave like this whole speech on, jumping out the plane, like how you're like afraid at first. And then once you do
Right.
it, you're like, oh, wow, it wasn't that bad. And
Mm-hmm.
I think of that moment every time I become afraid of doing something.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's what kind of pushes me. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I don't know why I like to encourage people to go skydiving.
Yeah.
But
Do the
anyway,
thing.
all right.
Do
So
the
we're
thing.
going to have to wrap up. So is there any last comments that you would like to share with the viewers?
Just this is my shameless plug for some of the things I'm doing in 2021. Well, it is 2021. Oh gosh. Okay, anyway. So one, on my personal Facebook page, I do a lot and I post a ton of research and articles and perspective on anti-racism and promoting Blackness. I do that on my page every day, all day. So if you are interested in following and getting resources on a fairly regular basis of like, because I'm obsessed on it, then follow me there. My website, Melanated Stamps, if you're interested in doing like teaching, coaching, public speaking, life change. I hate everything and I need to set a goal and make it and do that sort of thing. That's what my page is for. And that's what I'm very, very good at. I earned my doctorate when I'm 26 and so like I know how to set a goal and reach it. And I coach people in how to become the best version of themselves. Another thing that I'm doing is on my Instagram page, which is Melanated Stamps. I do have my own podcast, and I will be interviewing dope people who do dope things, just kind of like this one, but I get to be the dope one. And also, like, what I post on my Instagram is basically like what it's like to be an expat. Because I've noticed in travel Instagram pages that are super like just built tons and tons of people. Like they're all like these beautiful photos because they hired a photographer to follow them around. And like, this is me in my really expensive dress that I rented. And that live your best life if that's what you want to do. But also like, this is not pigeons on the sidewalk and the random old guy who's selling turtles off a stick next to the radio station. This isn't like, you know, I have explosive diarrhea in some random ass country. Like that's real life. You know, I talk about menstruating over here, bleeding over here,
Oh my
getting
God.
random massage with the guy that likes boobs and he hasn't touched black butt before. Stuff like
Oh
this. Like
Lord.
Lord Jesus. And so also like I'm a minimalist. So like my room is super tiny. I live in about 100 square feet, a little bit less than that. And so how to do that sort of thing. Also, I have a virtual book club that's happening real soon also. And we'll be reading books by Black authors only in 2021. That starts January 10th. I think that's it. But you know, we doing things. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yes. So
Wow.
come find me, support my work, do the thing, live your best life. Join my journey because I do this because a lot of people aren't yet, and it's possible. So I want to show y'all that you can also live this kind of life or a life that you is slightly out of reach from where you are right now. Like there are ways to get from where you are to where you want to be. I did it and I'm living it. And so I'm encouraging y'all to do the same.
Yeah.
Also, go to therapy. Absolutely, 100%. Yes, do that yesterday. Do it
Right.
yesterday.
Last
Mm-hmm.
year. Like get on
Yes.
that today.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, all right. So it was wonderful having you on the show. Stay on just for like a quick second. But I just want to say thank you for coming on. I hope everyone enjoyed what we had here today and what what Dr. J had to share with us. And we'll see you next time. So bye everyone.
Bye guys. See you later.
Woo! All right.
That